Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Fallout and today we are looking at the highly requested Vooping shotgun killer, the Erentil FR4 fusion rifle. Now, I know that a few of you are thinking, fusion rifle? Really? They're not exactly blowing up the meta, are they? And you'd be right to think that. Fusions are relatively far out on the back burner right now, probably third in command behind both sniper rifles and shotguns in the competitive PvP metagame. With that in mind, though, the Erentil stands out as a shining example of how a good fusion rifle should perform. It's reliable, powerful, and deadly at range when used correctly, which isn't very hard to do. You can liquidate enemies at mid to mid-long range and protect yourself from even the most efficient, aggressive shotgun apes with proper spacing and timing. On top of that, the Erentil is relatively easy to farm for. You can get them from rank-up packages at the tower by turning in gunsmith material to Banshee, the gunsmith. As we always do, let's take a look under the hood of the Erentil and find out what options we have to make a god roll. Even more good news for this weapon, so many of the options it can roll with are actually really good. I think we have a lot to work with here. Alrighty, we're gonna start on the left today in column 1. This is where we're looking for what the ideal scope would be. 8 options to choose from here. 3 are long range scopes, 3 are short range scopes, and 2 are medium range scopes. Now, the ideal Erentil is going to have a buttload of range. Your personal preference may factor into this choice. You might like scopes with a high zoom factor. I'm kind of wishy-washy on them. If you like high magnification and you want to try to map people from far away, you can go for the Impulse MS3, very high range and the highest zoom factor. If you're asking me though, the winner here hands down is the Torch HS3 medium scope. For some reason, it has more range than all of the long range scopes and a moderate zoom factor of only 3, so to me, it's perfect. Before we move on to column 2, gonna answer a question that might be popping up right about now down in the comment section. Is range the only thing that's important? What about stability? Stability is for sure important to have on your fusion rifle if you play with a controller. If you have too little stability, your fusion rifle is going to kick like an angry drunk mule. Having a ton of stability can help keep the kickback under control. That being said, fusion rifles are annoying like shotguns in that they are heavily affected by RNG. Even with a lot of stability, a fusion rifle shot can still be unpredictable and have a ton of kick anyway. Every time you pull that trigger, it's a little burst of RNG. Stability helps, but if you're asking me, range is king. Regardless of RNG, high range will always do 2 things. 1, push back your damage drop-off point, which is going to help you map people from far away with the Erentil, and 2, help you actually land your shots because as Bungie has confirmed, range and accuracy are intertwined. So my official stance is stability helps unless you're on M&K, but range is king. Okay, column 2, 6 options here. This is where we come to a very crucial point in the guide because I see people talking about 2 of these specific perks a lot: accelerated coils and liquid coils. 2 options that will directly raise or lower your weapon's impact and overall charge time. Which one is better? Let me tell you, this was a huge bitch to test out. I'm gonna walk you through it. This may be a bit complicated. The Erentil, like all fusion rifles, fires multiple bolts every time you shoot the weapon. 7 bolts to be exact. Now what we're looking for here is the DPB, damage per bolt. With its regular base impact, the Erentil does about 48 damage per bolt. From what I can tell, if you land 4 bolts on an enemy guardian, you can kill anyone in PvP with 6 resilience and below. If you have accelerated coils, this reduces the impact of your Erentil, but speeds up the charge time. You hit less hard, but you shoot quicker. Under accelerated coils, the game will tell you that you do 48 damage per bolt. Whoa, wait a minute, that's how much damage you just said it does normally. So are you telling me, Fallout, that there's no damage drop-off for the Erentil on accelerated coils? Not exactly. Destiny 2 does this thing that really annoys me. It rounds damage numbers on your screen. After much time spent testing, I've concluded that this isn't a glitch or a mistake by Bungie. It is damage numbers being rounded. You do lose impact with accelerated coils, but only a minor amount. So minor, in fact, that the damage number still gets rounded up on screen to 48. Does that make sense? As far as I can tell, with accelerated coils, you can kill an enemy guardian with 4 bolts up to 3 resilience and below. With liquid coils, your Erentil takes a little longer to fire, but it hits harder. Here, the damage numbers are at least visibly different. Liquid coils will give you 49 damage per bolt. After much testing, we figured that with 4 bolts hitting an enemy, you can kill any guardian up to 7 resilience and below. I need to clarify, this was really hard to test. Reason being, sometimes when you kill an enemy, not all the damage numbers will pop up on your screen. Thanks for that, Bungie. So did you kill your friend with 4 bolts, or did you hit them with 5, but the game only showed you 4 damage numbers on the screen? Please believe me when I tell you this took a near eternity to figure out. It'll really bake your noodle, but for the time being, unless Bungie comes in to correct me, I'm relatively confident after a butt ton of wasted time in private matches that these numbers are accurate. Accelerated coils will kill 3 resilience and below with 4 bolts. Regular Erentil impact will kill 6 resilience and below with 4 bolts. And liquid coils will kill 7 resilience and below with 4 bolts. Meaning, between accelerated coils and liquid coils, my favorite choice is neither of them. Don't get me wrong, accelerated is great if the entire enemy team happens to be running really low resilience. Liquid coils, on the other hand, is only helpful if your enemy is running exactly 7 resilience. Otherwise, the regular base damage on the Erentil does the job just fine. Nah, you don't understand, Fallout. I have liquid coils on mine, and I just absolutely melt enemy. Yeah, I get you. Feelings are not numbers. Sorry, bruh. Anyway, that was a really long-winded way of saying that the winner in column 2 is Projection Fuse, a flat +10 range bonus with absolutely no complications at all. Again, accelerated coils is great, but only in the event that the entire enemy team is running 3 or below resilience. Are we having fun yet? Me neither. I'm gonna pull a little sneaky on ya, and we're actually gonna hop over to column 4 for this next part. And we have 2 perks that I know you're probably eyeballing right away. 2 perks that have been routine troublemakers for my other God Roll videos. Good news though, we're throwing both of them away. Kill Clip and Rampage are out. Not that they can't be helpful, of course. I just think that we have better options here to choose from. Kill Clip can only potentially 3-bolt people with absolute minimal resilience, so it's not a massive leg up. The extra damage can push back your potential one-hit kill range, same thing as Rampage, which is cool, but again, I think there are better options here. Tap the trigger. I'll be honest, it's hard to measure how much it helps with stability and accuracy due to the RNG nature of fusion rifles. Not a bad perk overall, it can definitely help, but I'm going to, for the time being, leave it here. High Impact Reserves is okay. Because you start off with 2 shots, it kicks in very frequently. 1 shot fired, hey, you're already halfway to the bottom of the mag. It takes the damage per bolt up to 50 from the normal of 48. Now the good news there is that it can 4-bolt basically any enemy on the field, regardless of how much resilience they have. Which, if you think about it, is only really helpful if you're fighting a team of super beefy, high resilience guardians. The extra damage can push your damage drop-off point back a tad, but I still think that we can do better. Rangefinder, a great perk overall that I never like to push aside. Remember, range is king on fusion rifles, so if you have one with rangefinder, be happy. I'll talk about a potential other build that takes advantage of rangefinder in a little bit. Quick Draw, normally a great perk, but in fusion rifle land, Quick Draw falls short of its bigger and better brother, Backup Plan. Backup Plan gives you better handling speed and lightning quick charge time when swapping to your fusion rifle. You can switch to your fusion right away and bam, melt that dirty shotgun ape right into the next dimension. Backup Plan is there to reduce one of the major fundamental drawbacks of fusion rifles, charge time. If you're asking me, this perk is my personal column 4 winner. Oh, hey Fallout, if Backup Plan makes the charge time go away, wouldn't you go with liquid coils back in column 2? Still no, because again, only helpful if the enemy is running exactly 7 resilience, which is super rare. Column 3, there's actually a few good choices here, and again, don't get huffy, because at the end of the vid, I'm going to recommend 3 different build choices for you. Threat Detector, though, I'm just gonna throw that one away. Extremely situational, and the bonus stability is nice, but not essential. Hipfire Grip. This can be helpful, but it's another classic case of I think we have better choices available here in the column. The Snapshot Sights. Okay, fusion rifles are not that kind of a gun. We can just get rid of that perk. Remember, just because you can aim your fusion rifle really quickly doesn't change the fact that it still needs charge time before it can fire. Snapshot is kind of a waste. Firmly Planted. This perk is kind of hilarious. You have to crouch to activate it, which is lame, but Firmly Planted is something we're gonna hold on to for a special build a little bit later. With Firmly Planted, you can take the long-range mapping potential of the Erentil to ridiculous levels. Auto Loading Holster, not the most helpful perk of all time, but it does pair very, very well with Backup Plan. More on that later. Under Pressure. This is a good perk. Like High Impact Reserves, because you can only spawn with 2 shots, you can take advantage of Under Pressure relatively quickly. The additional accuracy will really be appreciated in terms of landing bolts, and if you have this perk on your Erentil, you should feel really good about it. My personal choice, though, is Moving Target. Extra move speed and target acquisition when aiming down sights. If you're an M&K player, you may want to go for Under Pressure, but for the rest of us, it's really hard to argue with Moving Target. You get to strafe quicker when charging, making you a little bit more difficult to hit, and you get better target acquisition overall. Sign me up. And you don't need to be at a certain point in your magazine to get the perk to activate. Moving Target is my winner. For the Masterwork, no need to complicate things, you probably already know what we're looking for, straight up range. So, for our final God ROLL Erentil, I actually want to recommend 3 different builds for you. 2 of them are unique and kind of fun, and the third one is my personal God ROLL. Build number 1. I'm calling this one the surprise motherfucker Auto Loading Holster and Backup Plan together. With these 2 perks, you are always prepared to deal with a last-minute shotgun ape. Auto Loading Holster means as long as you pick up ammo, your fusion rifle will eventually self-reload, and Backup Plan makes you always ready to quickly switch to your gun and annihilate somebody in the blink of an eye. If you have these 2 together and you get challenged close range unexpectedly, well, that enemy is in for a very quick surprise. Very hard to get caught off guard with this build. Build number 2, which I'm gonna go ahead and call Impulse MS3 Long Range Scope, Range Masterwork, Projection Fuse, Firmly Planted, and Rangefinder. You get what I'm driving at here? If you have this build, get ready to be the trolliest son of a bitch in quick play ever. This gun with this loadout is Long Range City. You can crouch to activate Firmly Planted and absolutely map people from far away. This will be for those people who want to use their fusion like a friggin' sniper rifle. Check your vault to see if you have this, and if you do, go get to sniping. And finally, we have build number 3, Fallout's chosen, the God ROLL. Torch HS3 Scope, Projection Fuse, a Range Masterwork, Moving Target, and backup plan. This is, in my opinion, the best of all worlds. An absolute ton of range, quick movement, reliable target acquisition, and the ability to get out of a tight situation with backup plan. You can have your own favorite preferences on this weapon, that's totally fine, but these are mine. Again, the good news about the Erentil, it's just an overall reliable gun. Even with bad perks, it seems to do damn well in the right hands. If you have a roll on your Erentil you feel really good about, feel free to tell me about it down in the comment section. While you're down there, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. It's free to do and it helps me out, which I greatly appreciate. You can also recommend which weapon you'd like to see a God roll video on next. Oh, and do me an extra favor. If you get the time, head on over to twitch.tv/FalloutPlays and throw me a follow there so you can hang out when I stream live. Thank you all very much for watching. Hope you learned something. See you next time.